old.
Well, I think Steve was talking about the time that he told me a story about when you moved up here when you were a little girl or something like that. When your family
And I
moved
wanted
up
you to
here.
tell her some of those old stories you used to tell
Yeah.
us. I
When
love
you
those
rode the
stories.
train and, you know, when y'all moved
Oh.
from Mabel up here.
I was 7 years old. I was born in Mabel, North Carolina. That's about middle ways between Boone and Mountain City. And the older brothers, yeah, they had the furniture and stuff in wagons with covers on it. And my 2 older brothers drove the cows. The cows was hitched to the back of the wagons, but they had to go along and take care of the cows. And I don't remember how we got to Mountain City to catch the train. We stayed in a hotel that night. That's the first time I'd ever done that. At Graydon and myself and Dad and Mom. And then we caught the train to Elizabethton the next day. It took them about 2 or 3 days to come in the wagon. Now what else? I don't remember a thing about when I got there.
You were 7 years old.
It's about, what, 35 miles from here to Mountain City now? Something like that.
Yeah.
It took them 3 days,
Mhm.
you know, to drive the cattle and come in.
Well, they didn't
So
have that road then.
Why were you moving up in this area? Why?
Well,
Your father was moving up here, or is that?
well, we moved over in Biltmore community. He bought a farm over there.
So he came up here to farm?
Yeah, he was a farmer all his life. That's all he ever did. And my mother wanted to move to Elizabethton because there wasn't any high schools in Watauga County, and she wanted to get where my older brothers could get in high school. And so we've been here ever since.
Were you born in 1904 or 1905?
1907.
7. Oh, okay. Well, how old are you now?
85.
85?
No, I never have denied my age, have I, Rachel? 85.
I guess my grandmother's been a couple of years. I was thinking she was born in 1903.
That's when Carl was born, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
And did they do tobacco up here then? Is that what they did? Or
Oh, my daddy never did raise tobacco. Now, when we lived over in Biltmore, where we moved, it wasn't very far to where Carl lived. So we were sort of raised up together, went to school together.
but they snuck off and got married.
Yeah, tell her about that.
did you?
Yes.
Yes,
You didn't tell anyone you were going to get her married?
Her stepmother. No, her sister.
My half-sister and my stepmother. Well, several people knew it.
Tell about
His
that.
mother. No, I'm
That's
not going
fun.
to tell
Oh,
that.
That's cute.
Oh, come on.
Tell me.
Oh, no, you're going to record that.
I'm not recording that.
I don't want that down on it. Rachel said I should have written
She
a
should
story.
write a book. I bet it would be a bestseller.
Oh, Dad always just controlled the family. And it didn't make any difference what you wanted to do. You did what he wanted done. You did it the way he wanted done. And he knew that Carl and I were going to get married. He accepted that fact. But before school was out, before spring, no, that was back in the winter. He was talking, we was sitting around the fire one night, and he was planning my wedding. He said that my Uncle Jack Green, which was not my uncle, he was the uncle of my daddy's oldest group of children, his children by his first wife. And he said, now I'm going to have your Uncle Jack Green to come. He was a preacher, and have the ceremony here. And he kept he just kept making his plans. And till I got just about as hot as I could get. So we finished, and Ollie and I went upstairs. She was a half-sister. It was her real uncle. And I was crying. And she said, she stuck her hand out like that. She says, "Cry me a handful of tears." And I don't know what I said to her about that, but I said, "I bet you I'll be married before this time next Wednesday night." She says, "I've heard the wind blow before." I said, "I mean it." And I said, "You're going to know all about it. I'm going to bring the ring and show it to you." I turned the ring over to the stepmother. She knew all about it. And I was married I was married the next Wednesday, on January the 19th. But Dad had said that he was going to wait until all the strawberries were picked, all the spring work had to be done before I got married. But you know, I didn't. I did.
She's the only one that got to know.
What did he say when he found out you were already married?
He never mentioned it to me in his life from that
He
time
didn't
till the time
really?
he died.
He didn't know until graduation
Until the week of graduation.
that she was married. She went back home. They lived at home.
Now, I mean, I lived at home too.
Uh-huh.
My
And,
stepmother said if she ever suspected me that she would have to tell him. And the week that school was out, I told my stepmother, I said, "You tell Papa," that's what we called him today, "about it." So I thought she was going to. And I came home that night, I mean, I spent a miserable day. And I came home and I couldn't hardly get up the hill. We had a hill and steps to get up. And when I got up in the yard, Dad was sitting on the front porch and he said, "Are you sick?" Well, I said, "I don't feel a bit good." She had told him that day, but when I went in, she told me, she said, "Well, I didn't tell him." She said, "I just couldn't tell him." And so I thought, well, it's up to me. Next morning I got up and Dad was still in the bed and I was fixing to go milk. Or maybe I had several things to do before I went to school. And I went in and I said, "Papa, I want you to go a piece with me when I start school this morning." I thought, if he started doing things to me when I told him I could run. And so I went on then and milked the cows, and I went to the spring house to strain the milk. And I saw Dad going across the meadow with his shotgun. I thought, well, what in the world will I do now? And I went on back to the house, and Sarah said, she was kind of laughing, and she said, "Your dad told me to tell you he didn't want to know any stale news. that he had known for the last 2 months that you were married." Boy, what a relief. So he didn't mention it to me, and so when I got ready to go to graduation that night, why, he was sitting on the porch. And Sarah was in the kitchen. I went in and I said, "Go out some way, get Dad off of that front porch till I can get gone." And she couldn't do it. So I got ready, and when I got off of the porch, he said, "Come back and see us sometime." Now that's as far as anything he ever said to me. And not very long before Harold was born, we went to my mother's to see my grandmother on my mother's side. We went to Uncle Dick Bayless, my mother's brother. And Uncle Dick said, "John," said, "Belle's the only one that ever did try to pull the wool over your eyes."
She didn't try, she did.
Papa said, "Dick, Belle and me don't talk about that." He never did do it. It was all so funny that night that Carl knew that Sarah was supposed to tell him. He came down before dark and see what happened. He said, "Don't let him whip you." And so Dad hollered at me and he said, "Somebody down there on the steps wants to see you," just like it was a pure stranger, you know. I went down. Carl said, "What happened?" I said, "Not anything." So he went on, he went to his grave without mentioning it to me.
He accepted it though. I said he accepted it though.
Now he liked Carl. He just liked to have his way. But
Sounds
he
like
didn't
somebody
get,
else.
he didn't get it.
Now, my dad was
Isn't
that
it
way.
you?
Well, we didn't have anything. Now my dad had all kinds of farm machinery, anything he wanted to work with, and he
had a
was
lot of
a
property too.
yeah, he was a
Lots of
very
property.
particular farmer, a successful farmer. But we didn't have anything in the house. And here he was planning a wedding in the house. Now you know I wasn't going to go for that. I was going to stand up and fight the whole thing.
She's a chip off the old blocks.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat.
This half sister